For the first one, it says in triangle PQR, PS is 8 and QS is 14. Find RS. This is geometric mean. RS will be the geometric mean between 8 and 14. So for this one, you should have done RS is the square root of 8 times 14. If you leave it as a radical, that's 4 squared is 7. If you put it into your calculator, that's 10.6. Theorem. So in section 2, we covered Pythagorean Theorem. This is a right triangle. They note that with the right triangle notation there. You have 2 of the legs and you're solving for the hypotenuse. So you're going to say a squared plus b squared equals c squared. 15 squared is 225. 20 squared is 400. That is 625 equals c squared. C is the square root of 625, which is just 25. In section 3, we did special right triangles. So we did 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90 triangles. And this is a combination of those together. So they want us to find they want us to find Z and A if Y is 18. All right, so they have given us Y here, and they've told us Y is 18. So we're going to start with this particular triangle, and we're going to find Z. In this triangle over to the right that they're referring to, this one right here, Y is my short side. All right, and Z is my long leg, so my longer leg. So I have my shorter leg, and I need my longer leg. So what do I do to the shorter leg to find the longer leg? In a 30, 60, 90. The hypotenuse is doubled. It's times the square root of 3. So I'm going to say 18 times the square root of 3. That would be my longer leg there. 18 times the square root of 3. All right. So now this is 18 times the square root of 3. And now I am moving on to the other triangle. I'm moving on to this triangle right here. In this triangle, Z is my shorter leg, right? So I am going to now find my longer leg again. So finding A, not X. I was anxious to find that one. A then is the hypotenuse, right? So I'm going to take my shorter leg, which is 18 square root of 3, and I'm going to multiply by 2. Remember, when you multiply a root and a number, you multiply just the outside numbers. So it's just 36 square root of 3. And if you had wanted to find the longer leg there, you would have multiplied by square root of 3 again.
For like y is equal.
All right. For number 21. Number 21 is just trig. So this is right angle trigonometry, Sohcahtoa. They have given us side A, B, and C lengths. All right, so we know that A is 9, we know that B is 12, and we know that C is 15. And they want us to find sine, cosine, and tangent of F and of G. So we have sine of F, cosine of F, and tangent of F. And they want it in fraction and in decimal. So if I am labeling it based on F, then 9 is my opposite, 12 is my adjacent, and of course 15 will always be my hypotenuse. So my sine is going to be which one over which one? So I'm going to say 9 over 15. That can reduce, right? 3 over 5. That is my fraction. In decimal form, that would be 0.6. Okay? Cosine then would be adjacent over hypotenuse. That also reduces by 3 as well. So that's going to be 4 over 5. In decimal format, that would be 0.8. And then tangent is going to be opposite 9 over adjacent 12. And that also reduces to 3 over 4, which is going to be 0.75. And then for my G, you can relabel it if you want to. What do we know about G? If we don't want to relabel it, what can we do?
Just flip the sign
Right, so my sine of g is going to be equal to my cosine of f. So sine of g is going to be 4/5 or 0.8. My cosine of g is going to be my sine of f, so it's going to be 3/5 or 0.6. And my tangent is just going to be my reciprocal, 4/3, so 1.3 repeating there. Section 5 was all about angles of elevation and depression. Certain time of day, the angle of elevation of the sun is 44 degrees and the length of the shadow cast by the building is 30 yards high. So, if we were to do this, we are always, for these, drawing a right triangle. Now, if I were doing law of sines and law of cosines, this is going to be different. I don't necessarily have a right triangle for those. But for this one, I am going to have a right triangle. So, angle of elevation. It's not very straight, but that's okay. Angle of elevation from the ground up to the sun. So that is going to be 44 degrees. The length of the shadow cast by the building is going to be what we're looking for here. So we're looking for the shadow. So shadow is always going to be on the ground, obviously, for the most part. 30 yards high. That is my building. All right. So they want the shadow. So I'm going to label it based on this angle here, the 44. That means this is my opposite and this is my adjacent. Which trig function uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. So the tangent of 44 degrees should equal opposite 30 yards over adjacent, what I'm looking for. Remember, when what you're looking for is on bottom, you divide. 30 divided by the tangent of 44 degrees. What do you get when you do that? 1.1. So 31.1 yards would be my shadow. So I have some angle FGH, some triangle FGH, and I am going to label what I have and solve for what I need. They have given me the length of G. So G is going to be always opposite of the angle G. They have given me the measure of angle G, 48 degrees. They have given me the measure of angle F, 82 degrees. And they want me to find F. So that's going to be this over here. So we're just going to set it up. Sine of 48 over 16 equals sine of 82 over F. And then we're just going to do our cross multiplication and solve. So you're going to end up with 16 times the sine of 82 divided by the sine of 48. And that should equal F here. All right. When you do that, round it to the nearest tenth, you should get 21.3. So once again, they have given us some triangle here for this one.
Could you also do law of sines here also?
You can only do that after you find it.
So for this one, they actually want us to solve the triangle. Oh, actually, this one they just want us to find the measure, right? Of the missing side. So no, on this one you would have to use law of cosines. In 39, like from homework, you would probably start with law of cosines and move to law of sines. But in this one, no. So we have, it looks like M. So we have the measure of angle Z has been given to us. Then we have the side length of X and the side length of Y. And they want the missing side Z. So in this case, we do not have an angle and a side opposite, so we have to use law of cosines. So I'm going to say Z squared is going to equal X squared plus Y squared minus 2 times X times Y times the cosine of Z. In your calculators, make sure you just do a square root there before that. But when you do that, rounded to the nearest tenth is 5.9.